All right, thanks everyone for joining us today. I'll be facilitating this Boerne neighborhood discussion, or as we call it, B&D. It'll be regarding the Goodwill Special Use Permit. Today is June 17th, 2025, and we're here to ensure that everyone has an opportunity to learn about and discuss this proposed development. Your feedback today is essential and will directly impact the next steps of this process. Let's go ahead and get started. First, I want to give a brief overview of what Boerne neighborhood discussion meetings are all about. These meetings are an informal, you can't see oh, I should probably turn that on. Can you guys see us now? Presentation? Great. All right, so this is my title slide. And now I'm going to go over the overview. In terms of the Boerne neighborhood discussion meetings, these meetings are an informal opportunity for residents to learn about developments proposed near your homes and businesses. For developers, these meetings are a chance to gain early insight into community perspectives, which can help identify potential issues before the project is formally considered by the city. For residents, this is your chance to learn more about the developments, voice your concerns, and provide input that help shape the project. I want to emphasize that these meetings are for informational purposes only. They do not replace the formal public hearing process or our public meetings that are required for official consideration of the project. Now let's dive into the main topic of today's discussion, the Goodwill Special Use Permit. Today's agenda includes a presentation by the property owner and the applicant, followed by an open discussion where we will welcome questions and feedback from residents. Finally, we'll wrap up the discussion on next steps, where we'll outline what happens after today's meeting and how you can stay involved in the process. Before we hear from our property owner and applicant team, it's important to understand what a special permit or SUP is. The purpose of an SUP is to allow for uses that are not automatically permitted within certain zoning areas. This process ensures that any proposed use is compatible with the surrounding community and environment. Here are the key steps. SUPs require extra staff attention and a thorough review to align the project with community needs and expectations. The city also assesses how the project may impact traffic, safety, and property values. Now, your role as the public is crucial. You'll have opportunities to share your feedback during formal public hearings before any decisions are made. This project will also go before the Planning and Zoning Commission for a public hearing, providing another chance to review and comment. Feedback gathered from today's meeting will be shared at the P&Z meeting to ensure your voices are heard. And finally, with ongoing oversight, if the project is approved, the project must adhere to specific guidelines. The approval is tied to the site plan, so any major changes will require additional review and approval. Here's our location map, and it shows where the proposed Goodwill use will go, and the address is 1030 North Main Street. The property is zone C2 EC. The C2 stands for Transitional Commercial, and it lies within the Entrance Corridor Overlay District. You'll see it as kind of a ribbon of yellow on the map. And the overlay adds extra requirements for building design, landscaping, and signage to help maintain the visual character of Boerne's main roads. In this zoning district, C2, thrift stores are allowed, but only if they do not include outdoor storage or donation bins. They also require a special use permit, which involves public review and an approval process. So now I'm going to hand it off to Mr. Price, who will give a brief start off our applicant property owner presentation.
Thank you, Joy and Marie. Nicole, could you go ahead and share your screen, please? Okay, so I'm speaking, my name is Price Onken. I'm speaking on behalf of Espada Real Estate. So just wanted to give a little bit of background on our team, ownership of the shopping center, and then we'll hand it off to Goodwill. So next slide, please. We have 3 managing partners for this shopping center, and the 3 of us actually have collectively 78 years of retail, commercial real estate experience. Our passion and our everyday focus is retail, commercial real estate, and we are focused on the South Texas region. And we have long identified Boerne as a community that we feel is vibrant, that's growing, that's unique. Michael actually lives in Boerne, Texas. My wife has for 20 years been employed by the Boerne ISD as a school psychologist. So we have deep ties with Boerne and understand the unique and important nature of the community there. Go ahead, go to the next slide. This is just a brief summary of some shopping centers that we've been involved with over the years. Go to the next and the next. Just to give you a little bit of background on the actual shopping center and our acquiring the shopping center, we've long identified it as a property that had untapped potential. I think everyone in the area would agree that there was a lot of deferred maintenance by the previous owner. We felt like we could unlock a lot of that potential if we were able to acquire the shopping center and make it upgrade it into something that the community's proud of, that it's on the north side of Boerne, a collecting point that people can shop and eat and enjoy the different services within the shopping center and be proud of it. And we want to manage it and lease it in a first-class manner. So we have plans for upgrades, landscaping, exterior upgrades. We've started on some of those plans already. We've addressed some of the landscaping, the overgrowth in the shopping center. We were lucky to get Dollar Tree open in fast order. We are in process with O'Reilly Auto Parts. We're very excited about those guys coming into the shopping center. They're going to take the Duke's Bar space, and as part of the next phase of the development, we are focused on Goodwill and activating their space that has long been dormant. And we'd like to upgrade the aesthetics of their space, which will help the overall shopping center. And again, make something that the community's proud of. So with that, I'll hand it over to Dave, and he can give you a little bit of background on Goodwill, their overall mission and plans for the space.
Sorry about that. Looking for the mute button. Found it. All right, Nicole, if we can go to the slide. Thank you. So good evening. I'm Dave Peterson. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Goodwill. We're thrilled to have had Espada reach out to us to join the revitalization of the Live Oak Shopping Center. We're in the business of revitalization, reuse, repurpose, and we find this to be very aligned with who we are. I'd like to take a couple minutes to discuss Goodwill and our proposed plans for joining the Boerne community. First, Goodwill is a nonprofit. We are a 501c3. We've been in Southwest Texas for 80 years. For the people who haven't seen a Goodwill in a few years, the store locations shown here from Kerrville, Bulverde, and Cibolo provide a look at our typical internal and external appearances. And we and our teams take great pride in keeping a neat and orderly appearance both inside and out. Next slide, please. So this slide depicts our history from when Goodwill was founded in Boston by the Reverend Edgar J. Helms in 1902. Reverend Helms wanted to do something for the people who were struggling to feed and clothe themselves and their families. He collected donations and distributed them, but that only changed their situation very briefly. So he sought to make long-term change happen. In order to accomplish this, he hired individuals to collect the goods, repair them, and then sell the goods, generating salaries for them and their families. The concept of a hand up, not a handout, was born. The first Goodwill in Texas was established in Dallas in 1923. Evidence shows that efforts were made to start Goodwill in San Antonio in the 1930s, but it didn't stick. In 1945, notable area business leaders, including G.S. McCreeless, Opie Schnabel, and Bill Sinkin, came together to develop a plan to employ soldiers returning from the war with disabilities. The first store opened on the south side of San Antonio in 1946, as you can see, with 18 of the 22 initial employees being Purple Heart recipients. Goodwill has remained committed to the military, veterans, and those with disabilities through today. Goodwill Industries is a federated model, with Goodwill Industries International controlling the brand and other standards. Across the US and Canada, there are 153 distinct Goodwill entities. There are 15 Goodwill organizations in Texas alone, where we meet to collaborate and support each other. Our Goodwill, named Goodwill Industries of San Antonio, is one of the larger operations nationally. This slide depicts the scope of our operations well. We look to serve as many people in that 24 county region as best we can. Our 24 stores resemble what was depicted on our first slide. Our 2 outlets are where we sell items that we didn't sell in the stores. We sell in our outlet by the pound and sometimes in bulk to avoid throwing items away. Our San Antonio outlet sells about 1.5 tons a day. Our 15 government contracts employ the majority of our contract team members, primarily in contracts supporting the U.S. Army and the U.S. Air Force. We'll discuss the Academy and Career Services on the next slide. The Goodwill mission is changing lives through the power of work. It began with Reverend Helms and continues today. A critical component of all the work displayed on this page is that training is not enough. Job placement is the real need. Our average placement pay is regardless of whether the individual walked in off the street needing work or if they graduated from one of our training programs. We seek to exceed $15.05, which is 200% of the federal poverty level in our area. One way we execute our mission is through our 6 career centers, where we provide individuals with career search support, from skills assessment and job readiness support, which includes resume writing, mock interviews, and job search. These services are provided in various locations in our region, to include Laredo. Our team stays engaged with the individual until they're placed or no longer participate. Our Career Academy sees nearly 300 individuals participate annually who are placed in good jobs through this program. Our Academy provides industry-recognized certifications for medical assistants, nurses' aides, and pharmacy techs. We also certify commercial driver's license, forklift operator, entry-level construction, manufacturing, and logistics, and warehousing. Our newest program is our 3-week manufacturing boot camp, developed alongside employers with their requirements incorporated. We are in our 4th cohort of 10. As an example of the collaboration of the program, 2 members of the first 2 cohorts were residents at the Salvation Army shelter. Our digital literacy programs are hosted in 3 locations and are extremely successful in helping individuals with limited digital skills become more capable through a series of programs. Next Level is a partnership with the City of San Antonio and communities and schools to serve opportunity youth ages 16 to 24, not in school and not working. Goodwill's Next Level has had a partnership with Roy Moss Youth Alternatives for about 5 years. We refer youth to Roy Moss for transitional housing, and they refer their youth to us for reentry into education, job placement, and career services. We've had discussions with Boerne ISD leadership and other community leaders to determine if there are needs that our programs could help fill or that we could develop, and we'll continue those conversations. All of these programs are free to the participant and include success coaches focused on not allowing barriers to derail completion. These programs have various funding streams, but a significant portion of the funding is paid for from the net revenue from our store operations. Total job placements for workforce development in 2024 was 1,506 across our Next Level, our Academy and Career Services. In 2024, our career centers placed 762 individuals into jobs. 331 individuals participated in our digital literacy program, of which 212 completed the program. Our federal contracts are performed for the Army and the Air Force under the Ability One program, which provides a vehicle for nonprofit organizations that employ over 75% of their workforce with a recognized disability to compete for those contracts. We currently employ approximately 89% of our workforce with disabilities. Examples of our federal contracts include running the Air Force Personnel Call Center, awards and recognitions, processing retirement DD-214s, and other records management. We also do groundskeeping for Fort Sam and Lackland, range maintenance at Camp Bullis, with licensed arborists and irrigation specialists on those teams, and we replace 80,000 HVAC filters annually at Fort Sam. 2 of our largest efforts are medical record digitization for the Air Force and for Army members that depart the service. We complete all of these with extremely high quality requirements while employing many disabled veterans. Our non-federal contracts include groundskeeping and landscape at the Frost Bank Center, Northside Independent School District, including herbicide and pest control, San Antonio State Hospital, and various departments of the city of San Antonio. We provide licensed arborist and tree care for TxDOT and for University Health, and grounds maintenance and landscaping for several nonprofits to include Meals on Wheels, Autism Community Network, Children's Bereavement Center, and the Christian Assistance Ministries. We also run call centers for several entities, including the Alamo Colleges District, and perform HVAC filter maintenance for San Antonio Independent School District. We have also shared our willingness to explore opportunities to support in Boerne and continue to see if there are needs we could support. Donated goods retail, or DGR as we call it, is what most people think of when they hear Goodwill, particularly if they haven't come in contact with our other programs. And this is what we are proposing to bring to Boerne at this time: a retail store. Our goal in our stores is to recruit, hire, train, and develop our employees at 200% of the federal poverty level or higher, which, as stated earlier, is currently $15.05 an hour. We have a diverse workforce, but we pay special attention to hire individuals that may not have other opportunities. I'll get into the specifics of the proposed Boerne store on the next slide, but I want to highlight here a few things about our processes. First is all of our retail stores take donations, some in the back, some on the side, and some at the front of the store. In every case, we work diligently through a variety of means to limit off-hours donations. These efforts begin with signage and security cameras and can escalate as needed through adjusting donation hours and security personnel. We have 8 attended donation centers where we only take donations, the newest one just down I-10 in Leon Springs, and we mitigate our off-hour donations there as well. All donations are sold where they are donated to the maximum extent possible. The exceptions are clothing, which we centrally process and redistribute from our operations center, and items better suited for sale on our e-commerce platform. We provide licensed professional counselors in addition to full health benefits and a 403B plan for all of our employees. The majority of our store employees are hired from the surrounding areas, and we find greater satisfaction when employees live near where they work. If our use is approved, we will operate our store in Boerne in accordance with the previously discussed tenets. Donations will be taken inside the front of the store at a dedicated space with its own door. There will be absolutely no external donations. We will manage off-hours donations as previously discussed. All deliveries will occur at the loading dock at the rear of the store in trucks driven by professional contract drivers. The store will create 20 full-time jobs with licensed professional counselor access, full health benefits, 403B, which is the nonprofit version of the 401k, and opportunities for advancement and placement within Goodwill and without. We will be paying our fair share of the center's property taxes, and we will pay sales tax based on our transactions. This floor plan will provide a sense of how we will operate the store if approved. Our process begins with donations at our internal receiving point in the lower left of the depiction, which is the front left of the store when facing it from the parking lot. The main entrance is at the front right, bottom right in this depiction. Once the donations are received inside, they are separated by category and moved into the processing area to the appropriate station. That's depicted at the top of the drawing. At the appropriate station, be it electrical, books, wares, shoes, etc., the items are graded for sellability, i.e. not soiled, ripped, torn, broken, etc. They're sorted and priced and loaded for movement to the sales floor in the appropriate bin or rack. Clothing is bundled into bins and loaded into the trailer for transport to central processing. It is returned from central processing in bins, graded, sorted, and priced, and then hung on racks in the back of the store for movement to the sales floor. We are focused on getting items out on the shelves quickly and efficiently. Items are on the floor for 4 weeks. Each week is tagged by color, so we know when they have reached the 3-week point, where we then discount them 50% for the last week. And at the end of the 4th week, they are pulled and sent to the warehouse. For items not sold or that do not pass the initial grading, we send to salvage what we can to do our best to avoid throwing things away. I mentioned the outlets earlier where we sell items by the pound that did not sell in the store. After the outlet, we have vendors that buy cardboard, textiles, metals, items with batteries, and electronic waste. We're exploring some exciting new opportunities for glass and plastic recycling. For the items we cannot sell or salvage, we will have a trash pre-crusher inside the fenced area at the back of the store and will employ trash services and waste management of Boerne. We will use two of the loading dock spaces, one with the trailer being loaded or unloaded, and the other with room for the new trailer to arrive. It is to be a concrete, fully fenced in dock and would be kept clean from trash and debris. We will use certified rider truck drivers, and as discussed previously, deliveries will only be during operating hours. The sales floor will generally have about 60% clothing, with all other items on racks or shelves around the sides and in the back. The large square depicted on the back of the sales floor, so about halfway up the drawing, is for oversized wares and furniture, which we try to move very quickly as it takes up a good amount of space on the floor. And in the processing area at the bottom left is our life skills counselor office, so the counselors have room to talk to our employees. As a nonprofit, we value supporting and working together with other nonprofits and contributing to our communities. We've had conversations with several nonprofits in Boerne that have thrift stores, and we believe we can collaborate well. In fact, I was hired to focus on our partnerships, and as my role has expanded, we have hired a strategic partnerships manager to work those relationships further. On this slide, you can see some of the activities we have been or will be doing a part of in Boerne. But we have also donated to the Girl Scouts of Southwest Texas a desperately needed refrigerator and washer dryer for their after school programs. We've donated gym mats to a small business in New Braunfels when we knew they wouldn't sell in the store, and we had the New Braunfels Chamber tell us of this business that was struggling. We've partnered with San Antonio Independent School District Book Buddies, donating children's books for their programs for underserved youth. We've partnered with the Roy Moss Youth Alternatives for the past 5 years. I've talked about the Next Level program, but you can also see we participated during Lemonade Days. We have supported individuals in a homeless hotel in San Antonio who had their belongings destroyed in a fire. We gave them gift cards where they were able to reestablish themselves. We've supported a coat drive for Haven for Hope. We've provided shoes to the Park Village Elementary School for kids to participate in gym class. We look forward to further partnering in Boerne. We don't know the needs yet, and sometimes they arise quickly. We strive to be a gap filler, and we do not wish to displace other nonprofits, but hope to join in the efforts. And Price, I'll turn the presentation over to you at this point.
So just briefly, wanted to focus a little bit on Goodwill storefront and the improvements that we would like to kick off should we get the Goodwill SUP and finalize the lease. You can see we've got a few arrows that's pointing to their storefront and a couple of pictures of how the storefront looks right now. Goodwill is going, O'Reilly's going where Duke's Bar is currently located, and then to the left is where Goodwill will be going in 16,500 square feet. Next slide, please. This is a good rendering of what we plan to install in terms of a storefront glass system for Goodwill space. You can see their signage as well too, which will adhere to the dark sky ordinance at Boerne. We are very excited about being able to take on this work. That said, it's expensive work, and it's very important to have a caliber of tenant like Goodwill in order to take on this improvement for the shopping center. Next slide. An example of this is a rendering of their storefront sign, again adhering to all lighting and dark sky ordinance within Boerne. Next slide. This is just some bullet points on essentially their operation with the city, or excuse me, within the space. Next slide. That's it.
Okay, thank you, David and Price. I think we can move into our discussion and feedback. We can keep it pretty informal if the audience would like to raise their hand or prefer to just speak up. And then we can monitor the chat as well. Okay. I see we have a question from Rebecca. Were any other thrift stores in Boerne given the opportunity to move into this space?
We still have a leasing sign up in the shopping center. And have had a sign with our name on it. So it's been available. This space in particular has been available for over 10 years. Between the time the previous owner had it and when we took it over. So there's been ample opportunity for other organizations to move into the space.
Stacy, would you like to speak?
Yes, I wasn't sure if it would be better to put it in chat or speak out loud. Well, it's an honor to speak in front of the group. My name is Stacy Almager. I'm the current CEO of Hill Country Family Services. I've served in this role for 7 years. And the last time that Goodwill approached the city council, as well as planning and zoning, I was part of those conversations as well. I want to share as a leader in the community of organizations, collective organizations that do have thrift shops, that we make a very important impact in our local community. We collectively earn over $2.1 million for direct services that are provided to the citizens of Kendall County. All of the work that we do is provided for citizens of Kendall County and are invested back into our local economy. We service collectively all 7 of the nonprofit thrift shops. We service over 22,000 individuals who are citizens of our county as well. So when we learned that Goodwill was interested in coming back to our community, the concern that we have is knowing what is the direct impact that is going to be felt by our local community. We're very passionate about the work that we do for our community. We are a rural community, and our reach is spread very wide out to some parts of our community that don't have access to a lot of the services, and those services are provided by our local community. And so I want that to be a thought process as we move forward. If we're sharing the space of a nonprofit thrift store with others within the community, I'd like for Goodwill to respond of what their impact is going to be, because as more businesses enter that landscape, it will dilute the impact that we have based on the number of bags of donations we receive, the number of individuals who shop at our store. There's only, so much economies of scale, so much money to go around, so many donations to be had. And we know without a shadow of a doubt that we are the change makers within the community. And I respect that Goodwill does make a difference in communities, but if we look at it from the Boerne and Kendall County perspective, can they quantify what impact they make on our local community? Thank you so much.
Stacy, I'll talk to that. It's good to see you. As we've discussed before, we're just trying to figure out now exactly where those impacts are most needed. We don't try to go in and take over anybody's space. When we do our training programs, we don't try to be the Alamo colleges or anybody else. So we look for those gaps, we look for those opportunities, and we displayed some that we've found, and certainly will contribute to the tax base. There's no problem with that. But we also feel that your dedicated donators are still going to love your mission. They're going to love your shop. They're going to love that experience. And so I don't forecast a huge change to that demographic because they know you, they love you, they've been participating with you. The folks that will come to us may not have that experience, may not have known who it was. They may be new arrivals as Boerne continues to grow so rapidly. So I think, from the donation perspective, I don't see a huge hit from us, but I do see a whole lot of opportunity. And as you well know, our training programs that we provide are not like other training programs that are geographically bounded. If there's a Boerne resident that is interested in being a medical assistant, they can get in our programs, and they can get in our programs for free, and they can be, catered to. We support their efforts, and we'll do that training. If there's a big enough need and we can bring that training into Boerne, then by all means, we will do that. And I think one of the first things we may see is digital literacy. We find in many communities that there's a need for that, particularly with an older population that wasn't a digital native. There's great utility to this program, and so we're finding a lot of success with that. And we showed or I discussed the numbers of that earlier. So, the exact numbers of what the impacts will be, yeah, we don't have that yet, but we're hoping it's really big, and we're hoping to be part of the community from start to finish. That's why we've participated in the chamber events. That's why we've done lemonade days. That's why we're trying to find, and we want to be substantial too, not just, one-off type events. We want to be recurring. We want to be embedded.
Thank you so much. And I don't want to take any more time, but I will make this comment. Because we're so passionate about research, because we're so passionate about being factual, we did investigate the other communities, other rural communities in which Goodwill has put a storefront, in Comal, in Gillespie, in Kerr. Forgive me if those aren't all 100% where you are or where you are yet. But the information and facts that we have discovered is that Goodwill coming in did make a massive impact on the number of donations and the number of shoppers in those thrift stores. Now, all the dots don't all line up. They might have different demographics and such, but it will make an impact. And that does concern the group of nonprofit organizations who directly serve Kendall County residents, who collectively already serve and make financial contributions to our community. Thank you.
Absolutely, Stacy. I see the question from Patty. So yes, right now we do not have training programs scheduled to be in place in Boerne yet because we don't know the need. When we understand the need, then we will go to work to find the best way to provide that training as best we can for what it is that's desired. So there are individuals in Boerne that have participated in our training programs and been highly successful. Now, the transportation, we work ways to try to help with transportation. I'm not sure that we can promise that everybody that wants to go to training in San Antonio will have a ride, but our team is focused on helping people succeed. So we want to meet, we want to talk, we want to find out how we can operate. We also operate 2 online programs. So we do pharmacy tech online and we do executive assistant online. So those are open as well, and that would save anybody having to commute. Yes, they are free. And we, our resources would be available. We can help with anybody that wants to ask about the questions. We'll get them to our workforce team, who is a very solution-oriented team that really works to try to find the best way to support anyone who comes through the door. Percentage of funds from local donations invested in Kendall County. Again, as we said, we don't know the extent of the training programs that would be needed, desired, or placed in Boerne, but that would be our most significant probable commitment. And so as we develop the store, as we ingrain ourselves more in the community, as we understand the need further, then we'd have a better answer on that. But certainly, if a need arises and we're in the community, we're gonna do what we can to be a solution. And we are going to try to partner with the others. The thrift store operators that I've spoken with, they meet, I believe it's quarterly, and we'd like to be part of those meetings. We think we can help with some of the things that we do with our salvage operations, where they may not be getting in their salvage programs what we could get. And so where they have, limitations, we could hopefully break down some of those and provide more support to those operations.
Hey Dave, this is Carlos. Can I
Yeah,
jump into one thing?
absolutely,
Uh,
Carlos.
hello everybody. I'm sorry I'm in my car here, and hope you can see me okay. I'm Carlos Contreras. I'm CEO of Goodwill, and I'm honored to be here. And Stacey, thank you for all you and the other nonprofits do for the community. It's a noble endeavor to be helping people in the community. We all believe that's an important thing to do. I just wanted to add one thing that what Dave was saying is that, as Dave explained, Goodwill started with its mission to help its employees. So our goal would be to hire as many people as we could possibly find from Kendall County. And they would be who we would support first and foremost, the people in Kendall County. So those 20 employees, Dave mentioned the pay. We provide some of the most affordable health care to all of our employees. They all receive very affordable health care. In fact, I came from the city of San Antonio before joining Goodwill, and our benefits are better than the city of San Antonio's benefits. He mentioned our 403B program. That's a matching program. So we provide retirement benefits for our employees, and everybody's enrolled in it. You have to actually unenroll to be taken out of the 403B. So a quick explanation for the benefit to the people that are coming through Goodwill is the employees are first and foremost. Beyond that, we have lots of opportunities to give back to the local community, and Dave gave you some examples of how we do that. But we get a lot of electronic equipment, for example. So one of the things we're considering is what can we do to help with electronic equipment in schools? And I know you have Title I schools in Boerne. How can we do that? So I just wanted to emphasize that we want to explore what the need is so that we can try to help meet that need.
Thank you, Carlos. I see a question. Let's see. Patty had a follow-up question. It sounds like the funds you raised only go to education in your training program, so we're looking for your funds to be used on those citizens that need those. I guess we could ask how much of the funds raised will go outside our county.
Yeah, I think that's the other side of the coin. So as we said, we take care of as Carlos very well covered, we'll take care of those employees. So those 20 employees will be taken care of. We've got other programs that we could bring in and support. So I've talked with, other nonprofits that have needs with, getting people back on their feet and getting them up to speed. So it very well could be, investment in that space. So as far as the percentage, it would be very difficult to say, what that number is until we understand what the programs are going to be.
Okay, thanks, Dave.
Other than to say, I would add that as reported in all of our tax filings that we report, over 90 cents of every dollar we generate goes back to the mission, whether it's for the employees or people in our workforce training. It's 90 cents of every dollar. Now, the exact amount that's going to be in Kendall County, obviously the employees will take a big piece of that, of the revenue that's generated. The employees are pretty significant. Probably 75% of the cost is expenses associated with running the stores, which includes the employees. But beyond that, it'll be investment back into the workforce training and other programs.
Thank you, Carlos. Marcus wants to know, why does Goodwill want to be part of our community?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, Boerne's a great community. And so as we look across our 24 counties, we want to be serving the people that need to be served. And whether they're in, the most remote county in that region, or whether they're in Bear County, the most populous, we want to be where we think the needs are and where we can provide services to folks. And so we take a look at Boerne, and we believe, and we've been told by folks, and we've talked with our potential future landlord who would really like us to run an operation there to help that revitalize. There's a lot of good reasons for us to want to be in Boerne, and we've we've talked about it for quite a while, but we think we can do good, and that's part of our name, and that's what we're hoping to be able to bring to Boerne as we've done to other locations.
Thank you, Dave. Does anybody have a follow-up question? Feel free to just chime in as well. Okay. Do we have any other comments or questions from the community? So Rebecca is having issues with her sound, but she does want to know more about the donations that will be leaving Boerne.
Yeah, absolutely, Becky. Good to see you. We uh the two items that leave are our clothing, which we centrally process. So we take that, as I said, it gets donated in any of our stores, and it gets immediately bundled up into the trucks, and it goes to our central processing facility. And so there, it's graded, where it's taken a look at to decide if it's suitable for sale, if it's soiled, if it's torn, if it's ripped, the zippers don't work, whatever. Then that goes immediately to salvage. And again, textiles don't get thrown away. We have salvage vendors for everything we do. From there, the ones that are good for sale, they go to our sorters, who sort them by women's top, women's long sleeve, women's short sleeve, women's pants, men's pants, etc. And then they get priced there. They get loaded into bins and taken back to the store. So the items of clothing could be from any store going back to any other store. We do not keep track of where they come from, and so that is a mix. Everything else, other than a handful of like an e-commerce item that is better on an e-platform than sitting on a shelf in a store, stays in that store. We want to sell Boerne items in Boerne stores for a lot of reasons, not the least of which is the community will appreciate that. And if this community donated it, then the community is generally the ones that want to purchase it. But it also saves a lot of transportation costs. If we're hauling stuff all over, that's not really a great business model for us. And so we would prefer to sell every single thing that came in that store, out that store, in the very, in that 4 weeks that we put it up for sale. So again, really the main item that's centrally processed is the clothing. And the reason we've centrally processed it is so that we can do it in more bulk and we can eliminate some of the costs. So our central processing facility is now running at about 1 million pieces a month, with 85 people. If we tried to do that in a store, it would take 160, which would be more expensive. It would be people that we would employ, and that's a good mission moment, but it would be less revenue that we could put towards those training programs. And so we've opted to go with that so that we can invest in those programs. Yeah, Holly, the projected timeline. I'll let Price talk to it. But once we got the approval, we would sign a lease, and then we would have to get permitting and get contractors and get everything lined up. So it's not going to be a quick process. You probably haven't been in that space, but it is not ready for prime time. It is going to take a whole lot of work, and to include simple things like plumbing and everything else. So we've got a lot of work ahead of us in that space. So if it made second quarter next year, I think I'd be very impressed. But I'll let Price talk to it from the landlord perspective as well.
Sure. So essentially, once the SUP would be issued to Goodwill, like Dave said, we'd finalize our lease agreement, and then immediately thereafter, we would submit our work, our scope of work, our improvements, meaning the storefront rendering that we showed, amongst a few other things within the space, utilities that need to be upgraded, some things along those lines, to the city of Boerne for them to approve. Once they're approved, then we would kick off our portion of the work. While that's taking place, Goodwill will be working on their finish out plans, their construction drawings, and they will submit to the city for approval of their finish out plans. So the store and the processing in the back and all of the final, the finished product, so to speak. And so once our work is finished and per the lease document, and we'd say, okay, we've completed our scope of work. We'd hand it over to Dave's team, and Dave's team would start their construction, which will probably take several months given the condition of the space. And then once they're completed, the city will come in and inspect it and give a certificate of occupancy, and then Goodwill will be open for business.
Thank you, Price. Jennifer wants to know, outside of employment, how else does Goodwill support the community?
Yeah, absolutely. Like we talked about, we're members of the chamber. We're members of other organizations that in different communities. So whatever those community organizations are, we'll join those and participate. We also do those programs that we talked about with training. We can employ people in our contract services. Many of the folks that we employ there, could not get employment other places, but they're, fantastic at that contract work. So we'll support in those areas. We've also done charitable contributions. So we will contribute. We did lemonade days. We're signing up for panels to be on. We're trying to figure out how best to invest in the community where we can have an impact. And so, as we get settled into the community, we will know more about what our opportunities are. I think we missed one. I think, Patty, I confused you with my conversation about clothing. So it's all clothing. So it's not the best, most profitable clothing. It's all clothing. We take all the clothing down to central processing, and we process it there. We really don't sell any clothing on e-commerce. Things that really go big on e-commerce would be collectibles, Lego sets, video games. We have an area where we test video games and we make sure that they operate the way they're supposed to. So vintage video games that we don't have the space in the store to run through. So a lot of things like jewelry we'll put online because we don't have space in the stores to secure it appropriately and then put it up for sale. So it's those items that go to e-commerce that are more suited for an e-commerce situation than for a store. And Becky, I see your comment on the challenging deep pockets. Yeah, we've got a large organization, that's for sure. But our pockets, we try to take that money and put it to use. And so, if we can have identified ways that we can support in Kendall County, we are all ears. We're doing training programs in Laredo that are highly successful. A lot of our digital literacy is really going strong down there. Our career centers are placing individuals in that neighborhood in big ways. So we're all ears on the best ways to support. And Marcus, Boerne residents can benefit from Goodwill services, but to the question earlier, do they have the transportation? So if we have a need in Kendall County and we've got people that don't have transportation, if we could bring that training to Kendall County, that'd be great. There's some programs that Boerne ISD runs that we may be able to work with some of the special need population that they serve. We aren't sure what that looks like yet. We've got to continue to discuss, but these are people that would not be able to make it down to San Antonio for a training program. So, we think there's opportunity. Examples in other similar communities. We've participated in Kerrville for about 10 years, so we run programs there. We've got Laredo is probably our biggest, most established market. We've been there for about 20 years, and they've highlighted their needs. I know it's a little different than Boerne, to Jennifer's question. But yeah, those are, and then I talked about, and not necessarily in this community, but the Girl Scouts of Southwest Texas came to us and said, we may have to close our after school program because the girls need a washer and dryer and ours is dead. And so we immediately went to look, and we were able, in a home pickup, to find a washer and dryer, and we provided it to them. So if there are needs in the community like that, we're certainly all ears. So there's the rapid response kind of needs, and then there's the long-term programmatic. And the programmatic we'll have to figure out over time, but the responsive needs, we can step in and help. And we've already talked. I know Becky and I spoke a little bit about they're limited on storage. Maybe we can help with that. We've talked about ways that we might be able to support some of that. And we can go further onto those needs once we understand them further. Question about our revenue going to support other nonprofit thrift stores in the area. We talked about being part of the group that meets quarterly to talk about what's going on, and we'd be happy to be in that conversation. And there may be items that we aren't as interested in that somebody else may be, and they may have items that they don't want that we could help with. I've talked about how we could help maybe in salvage operations or recycling. We have some agreements with Balcones Recycling in San Antonio that maybe we could get some operational benefit out of that. And we were exploring these other exciting new ones where we might be able to get glass and plastic, which for most of us is the biggest contributor to waste and is filling landfills at way too high a rate, that we may be able to get some opportunity there. We're in the early stages of investigating it, but we really want to know about that. And Jennifer, the income versus community investment, yes, we're exploring that, and we will know more over time. Patty, we are a nonprofit, so our reports, we report 990s annually. So everything that we do gets put through the government like every other nonprofit. And we've given, I mentioned we supported others financially. When we had a city council person come to us and say, "Hey, I've got displaced families. What can you do to help?" We were there with gift cards. So we have been able to support a lot of different folks in a lot of different ways. Rapid response, sure. But if a big need arises, Jennifer, I mean, it's more hands make light work. So we would like to be part of the solution. Patty, wondering if you're willing to support our community programs financially, and we said yes. We don't know what that is yet, but we are. Marcus, other nonprofits? Yeah, I went through that list of the nonprofits that we partner with and we work with. We do services for a bunch of nonprofits, and they get a great rate for their services. So we partner across the spectrum. Our manufacturing boot camp, Salvation Army runs a thrift store, but we included 2 of their people in each of our first cohorts of our program. So we're not parochial or territorial about that. We want to be helpful. Tina, I've met with Stacy and Becky. They could probably give you feedback on our meetings. And the iPhone, our thrift store supports spay and neuters to help families unable to afford to spay their pets. I've talked to Becky about possible solutions. Other needs that they have. I don't know, what exactly the best solution is, but we had a good conversation about ways we might be able to partner on her needs and our presence. So we will see what that looks like. Holly, we're not aware of any stores that have closed down in any location. In fact, I would tell you that New Braunfels is going gangbusters. So Comal County was cited, but everything I hear in New Braunfels is it's just there's actually capacity for more thrift stores because they're just growing so fast. I'm not aware. Kirk County was cited. I'm not aware of anything in Kerrville. We have never heard anything about that, and we've had our presence there for 10 years. So if something happened 10 years ago, I've not heard of it, and not heard of it in any of our Cibolo, Seguin, any of our other locations.
And in that regard, Dave, if I may, I'd sure like to know specifics about what, I forget who it was that mentioned that. I'd sure like to know what that is, because I'm not aware of that either. I've only been with Goodwill for 4 years now, but I'm not aware of any situation where anybody else was injured because of Goodwill. In fact, just the opposite. We try to be a good partner and help our fellow nonprofit entities out.
Yeah, and Patty, I just said I've talked to several of the resale stores in Boerne. And we have talked about how we could help, and we've discussed some ideas. So if they want to share those are great. Otherwise, we'll keep working towards what potential solutions could be found. And Marie, that's all the comments I see, unless I missed
do
one.
see that. Sounds like we've heard from everyone that's had a comment or question. So I'll go ahead and close the discussion and get to my next step slide here. Thank you guys for your robust discussion and engagement. All right, so next steps. After this meeting, the applicants will gather the feedback from today. The applicants will review and make any project adjustments. Your next opportunity to provide feedback and comment is during our Planning and Zoning Commission public hearing. That is scheduled for July 7th, 2025. It's the first Monday of the month, as well as an opportunity to comment and ask questions. The feedback from today's meeting will also be included in the agenda item for Planning and Zoning Commission. You can also submit additional feedback and any further comments you may have to the planning department. Our email is on the screen there, planning@boerne-tx.gov. And we invite you to stay informed, monitor the city's website for updates, and you can also sign up for meeting notices, whether it be for P&Z or HLC or other Boerne neighborhood discussion meetings. So again, I thank the property owner and the applicant team, and especially the community, to come out tonight and provide their feedback to learn a little bit more about the Goodwill SUP proposal. And that's all we have. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll be in touch soon.
Thank you, Joanne Marie.